Happy holiday, happy holiday, while the merry bells keep ringing, may your every wish come true. Happy holiday, happy holiday, may the calendar keep bringing happy holidays to you.
If you're burdened down with trouble, if your nerves are wearing thin, pack your load down the road and come to Holidays.
If the traffic noise affects you like a squeaky violin, kick your cares down the stairs, come to Holiday Inn.
If you can't find someone who will set your heart a-whirl, pay a little visit to the home of Boy Meets Girl.
If you're laid up with a breakdown, throw away your vitamin.
Don't get worse,
Or grab your nurse and come to Holiday Inn.
happy holiday, happy holiday. While the merry bells are ringing, may your every wish come true. Happy holiday, happy holiday. May the calendar keep ringing, happy holiday to you.
Happy holiday, happy holiday, while the merry bells keep ringing, may your every
I've already been told by the entire Scottsville Grandstand table that they want to get out of here early on the 10 o'clock train, so we got to get things moving along. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 23rd annual night of carousing and roasting, known as the ANCR. This year, we truly sacrificed a virgin to ANCR. Well, at least she claims immaculate conception, since no one would initiate sex with Ron. But before I begin tonight's festivities, I'd like us to also take a moment to recognize some of the losses suffered by the workers' compensation community in the past year, and in particular on September 11th. Many of us have lost family, friends, and in some cases co-workers in the past few months. We will always keep them in our thoughts and in our hearts while they live in our memories. But let us just take a brief moment of silence to remember them in our prayers now. Thank you. I must say, I'm very proud tonight that in spite of all of the traumas of the past year, from all the changes at the Workers' Compensation Board to the tragedy of September 11th, that we have a capacity crowd who came into Manhattan to spend this night together. I think that's while I'm sure that has a lot to do with our honoree, and maybe a little something to do with our roast doors, it's great to have the workers' compensation community come together for a purely social occasion, which is why the ANCR was started 23 years ago. In that vein, I'd just like to take a moment to recognize the past honorees, some of whom are with us tonight. John Morbido, Dick Spillane, Lou Brown, Frank Mantione, Steve Weissman, Charlie Cates, Dr. Jack Mattis, Tom Gleason, Hugh O'Boyle, Ray Gorman, Bob Belmont Sr., Lou Salvo, Dave Tischler, Henry Capobianco, Mark Jasper, Ed Hilford, Mauro Contrastano, Dr. Bill Head, Joel Blood, and Pat Ferraro. As you can tell, as you can tell, the list of past honorees is made up of all men. In the past, we've had such notable women as Judge Chiggy and Patty Tamarelli, the first female roast door, grace us with their presence at the dais. Well, in the former case, let's not necessarily say grace. And while some say Joel Clark qualified as a woman because he came in dress, present the ANCR.
Nancy! 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 Nancy!
Tonight, the ANCR has assembled a panel of noted feminists to act as role models. And I'd like to take this time to introduce you to them now, and we will hear from them later. First, we have last year's honoree, Mr. Ken Martin. Because of his battle of the sexes with his partner, who we like to call Billie Jean O'Connell, Ken is known as the Bobby Riggs of workers' compensation. Next is Alan Cackler. We refer to Alan as the Sigmund Freud of comp because every day that he walks into Jerry Rosenbluth Park, he cries, "I want my mommy." Also returning to the dais is noted feminist Eugene Spillane, who returns via telephone this evening. Let's hear it for Eugene. With a wife and 4 daughters at home, Gene says that any night out with the men, whether gay or straight, is a good night. And after a triumphant rookie presentation last year, Dick Brandenstein returns to the microphone this year. Dick is a former ladies man who, to this day, still thinks the feminist acronym NOW stands for Nookie on Wednesday. But last, I should say, last but never least, is Jim Abrams, who many of you know is constantly changing jobs. Due to numerous pending sexual harassment lawsuits, some of which were actually filed by women. And finally, my name is Bob Helbach, and I'll be your MC. A copy of this month's Playgirl Playmate of the Year in the heavyweight division. Together we will all roast and pay tribute to our honoree this evening, Nancy Bergan. Well, before I send you off to your scrumptious meal, we have one last bit of business. As I said, Gene Spillane is not able to be with us tonight in person, but he is with us via telephone, and unfortunately, I'm sure he'll say something later as to why, but he's running a bit of a fever and can't be amongst crowds, and therefore he's not with us this evening. But in our presence tonight is a man who provides us with his own unique brand of comedy and inspiration on a daily basis. But in particular, he has had us roaming the aisles for the past 5 years at this very dinner. His distinctive brand of Irish wit and pub charm keeps us looking forward to his return to the podium for many years to come. Despite the fact that he is a constant source of embarrassment to Marcy Lana, the fashion opposite of Dan Savino, and the political antithesis of Barry Layton. He is considered by everyone in this room to be our friend, colleague, and one of the best talents on this panel. When I think of being Irish, I think of Gene Spillane. And when I think of a heart of gold, I think of you too, Gene. So to our friend, Gene Spillane, the ANCR, and everyone in this room would like to present this token of appreciation for all the joy that you have given us and for all those laughs yet to come. Mauro Conchestano, if you could come up for a minute. Mauro, I'd like you to accept this on behalf of Gene Spillane and we'll present it to him tomorrow. The caricature of Gene Spillane. Eugene, just so you know, it's an ugly looking you, dressed in a leprechaun suit, with a Guinness in your hand, saying top of the morning to you.
I've actually seen him dressed like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll just tell you this evening, what we intend to do is let you eat your meal, enjoy the company of one another, and the bar is open outside. Sometime after dinner, what we will do is ask you all to sit down again. The bar will be closed. We'll give you about a 15-minute heads up so that you can go out and get your last drink before the roast begins, and then we will start our festivities. So enjoy your meal, and we'll see you in about 45 minutes. First-time ANCR attendees here tonight. And I want to see if they have the guts to do this and say, let's have them stand up and give them a big round of applause. Kenny Larkin asked me to give that test just to make sure everybody was drunk enough that they'd be willing to participate. So ladies and gentlemen, as we start the festivities tonight, I have the privilege of introducing table number one, our honorees, family, and friends. So I would just ask your indulgence and a little bit of quiet so that we can recognize all of them. These are the people that mean a lot to our honorees this evening. First, some of you, not all of you, may know our honoree's husband, and probably the brunt of many jokes this evening. Mr. Ronald Walter. Ron. Also present tonight is the mother of our honoree, Mrs. Helen Bergan. We have Barbara Morell, the sister of Nancy. Good. Timothy Morell, the brother-in-law of Nancy. Hillary Brower, who is Nancy's best friend from law school. As you can see, both Nancy and Hillary went to the contact together. And we have Bernard Walter, who is Nancy's father-in-law. Nancy's partner. And the other brunt of making a joke tonight, Joe Walsh. Some thought that the likes of Jim Abrams and Gene Spillane would seize on the opportunity to do disgusting, sexist jokes. I, for one, have more faith in this panel of roasters. Basically because these guys wouldn't know a good boob joke or a lusty limerick if it spanked them on the ass. Other founding committee members thought that it would be unfeminine for a woman to have to retort to such schoolyard humor. But then they didn't know that we would be choosing Nancy Bergan. After all, she really is one of the boys. I mean, this is no dainty flower. She baits fishing hooks for Ray Gorman. She can drink Richie Feldstein under the table. And we all know that she's beaten her husband Lon and her partner Joe Walsh into submission. This is one tough broad. And let's face it, anyone who can listen to Joe Walsh go on and on without going insane, has either got to be deaf or able to chew glass. So if my dad were here tonight, I would take the pleasure in saying to him, tonight, Dad, it's a cold day in hell. You should know that there's no need for you to have any sympathy for our roastee. After all, she, like her husband, could have said no. Ladies and gentlemen, our first roastee tonight has had a tough year. First, Ron Balter, the idiot savant of workers' compensation. Then his partner, Mauro Constantino, didn't get the lead in the producers. And then finally, he gets blamed when two bartenders get laid off and deported back to Ireland because he took a hiatus from the beef and pub for just a couple of months. Luckily for him, trouble comes in threes, so his bad luck is over. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Steve Black. Hold on 1 second. Try it again. Try it now, Gene. Try it now. Telephone demo. Gene? Yeah. You just got the You're good. Look at that. All right. Nancy, Ron, family. Distinguished members of the dais, I would like to say good evening. Did anybody get that? Yeah! Okay, well, good evening. I know this is Nancy's night, and I'll be with her in due course, but I would just like to take a brief moment on behalf of Karen and myself, and I want to thank everybody that's in that room for their prayers and their outpours of support during this troubling time. You've been great. It's been very uplifting.
run with Dan. Next stage. We're going to delay reaction. That's really been hitting that bar. All right, boys. Listen, I think Borg, that with all this Buffalo Bull memorabilia, he needs some serious help. I mean, Nancy is always walking around the board with a smile on her face. What could this Buffalo Bull be doing to her?
Let's hear it for ladies and gentlemen, G-Spline. Now, I don't want the rest of the guys in the days to start thinking that you can telephone this stuff. That's not going to allow next year, right? Video phone, yes.
Yeah, tell Gene to turn off the recorder.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we also have someone else who could not have been here, but wanted to put his 2 cents in. Rich Feldstein, a little bit of a coward. He decided not to come himself, but send a delegate. So Jimmy Abrams has a little presentation to make on his behalf. Jim.
Gene, you suck. You're such a tough act to follow, you bastard. All right, hold on. Can you hear me? Yeah. I have this thing from Feldstein. He gave me an envelope. He said he couldn't be here tonight. The choice was to be here for Nancy or to meet his son in Tahiti. Tahiti, Nancy, he's in Tahiti. So I have to read this from Gene. This was written by Richie Feldstein and given to me the other day before I left. It says, "Good evening, friends. Since I am unable to be present in person, and since Nancy is such a dear friend of mine, I asked Jim Abrams to read this 2 or 3 times. 2 or 3 times. Nancy, congratulations on being this year's ANCR Roastie or Chick of the Year. Boy, how's that for politically incorrect? Why not just call you Bimbo du jour? The Neanderthals who dreamt this up must have had their tiny overtaxed brains working overtime. I think the only reason they chose a woman this year is because with a woman on the dais, they thought they wouldn't have to get up and get their drinks themselves. And speaking of... Yeah. What are you drinking? And speaking of Neanderthals, Nancy, how is it that you managed to marry one and became partners with one? It's apparent that your lack of taste in men is exceeded only by your inability to make a decision. Unless, of course, that decision concerns alcoholic beverages that you consume, in which case you don't bother to decide, you just drink them all. But all seriousness aside, I hope your friends aren't too tough on you tonight. After all, we should all have a great deal of respect for any woman who had to work her way through college as a waitress in a diner. And you're so right. It didn't take you too long to figure out that by working the late night shift and allowing all the drunken customers to grope you, you could triple your tips. Wow, just imagine how much you could make if you worked the dais. And speaking of the dais, let's look at some of the luminaries here tonight. Bob Hellbach. Not the sharpest hook in the tackle box. Once told me that women were only good for 2 things. I asked him what those 2 things were, and he answered, "I'll get back to you when I ask my wife." Ken Larkin, here's a guy who loves women so much, he's even married a couple of them. Ken is one of the funniest guys I've ever met. Of course, he's developed a great sense of humor to compensate for his shortcomings in virtually every other area. Alan Patton. Talk about dull. This guy's about as funny as a colonoscopy. Only reason he's on the dais is because he's from Staten Island like Hellbach. Kind of makes you wonder what's in the drinking water over there. And Jim Abrams. We can skip that. Jim Abrams, who believes variety is the spice of life and has the resume to prove it. Jim has had more jobs this year than a $10 hooker. And makes just about as much money. Dick Brandenstein. Now here's a guy who believes in keeping a low profile. In fact, he rarely used to leave his office. The only time he crosses the Nassau-Queens border is to show up at these dinners. He doesn't even know who most of us are, but that's okay. We have no idea who he is. So Nancy, in closing, let me say this. I'm sure my friends and colleagues will have a few chosen remarks to make about me, but just remember, you're all still in New York, and I'm still in Tahiti. TTFN, ta-ta for now.
You know, Alan Gackett just said to me, you know, Richie's a pretty funny guy when someone else reads his material. Last year we had a great ANCR dinner and a great honorary, and custom usually is that we allow the last year's honorary to go first. Oh, now the powder comes out, Jim. Now look at this, now the powder comes out. We allow last year's honorary to go first, but because of circumstances, technical difficulties, we let Gene go. But now that Ken's wife has hit 29, he's started to look for the next replacement. Hence all the new hirings of young attractive women at Jones & Jones. We got Ms. Rodriguez, Ms. Duan, Ms. Tran. Yay! They're still a little bit old for Kenny, but Ann O'Connell wouldn't let him hire any junior high students. So, ladies and gentlemen, last year's honoree, Mark Ken Larkin.
Actually, I don't do any of the hiring in the firm, and I'm very concerned that Ann and Bill are leveraging me out. If there's any openings out there, please put it back.
Watch out for Ann. Yes, Joel. Yes, Joel.
It's a great evening. It's very rewarding to be up here on this dais with such terrific people. We have Jim Abrams on the end here. I'd like to do for you my impression of Jim Abrams' tenure with the Stewart Greenblatt law firm. Here it is my impression of Jim at Stewart Greenblatt. Intense for a while, but to their credit, Ed, Victor, and Milan worked things out, and Ed got custody of Mike and Mitch. And ex-partners have to pay him file support. Alan Captain, anyone who wonders why Alan is on the dais, questioning his humor, has to just think, if you've ever seen him play golf, there is no funnier person than Alan. Alan, you look great. You might want to shave the beard. When we went downstairs by the Christmas tree to take some photographs before, 6 kids gave Alan the list of toys they wanted to have. Bobby Helbach, wonderful human being. Works so hard every year on this ANCR dinner. Let's hear a big one. Nancy is such a great, wonderful person. It makes you wonder, why are there so many bad people in the world? I mean, I was thinking, the Taliban, why are they so angry? Why are these men so angry? I have some theories on it. Why are they so angry? These are men that don't have any toilet paper at all. They don't drink. What the hell is that? They don't drink. A group of Taliban sitting around, and Abdul says, Muhammad, I don't have any cold Budweisers, but would you like a nice warm glass of goat's milk? They don't have any big screen TVs. These are men without access to remote control. These are men that never had many dates to begin with. And once the bombing started, the farm animals ran up into the hills. And then they had others. Their women are covered from head to toe with clothing. As a matter of fact, the Afghanistan full forehead nudity. As we're attempting to make some amends here, I've understood that the Taliban is coming out with a line of holiday products for the Christmas season, and they're coming out with a line of Osama pajamas. They're men's pajamas, but instead of the flag hanging in the back, it's in the front, and it's large enough to accommodate the rear end of an adult mountain. They're also coming out with a secret. It's entitled "The Taliban Sing ZZ Top's Greatest Hits." Story on CNN. There was a United States Marine out on patrol, and he saw an Afghani woman standing in the field, and she was crying. And he went over to her and said, "Why are you crying?" And she said, "I was just thinking of my late husband." And he looked over and he noticed that she was holding a large potato in each hand. And he was staring, so she said, "These potatoes make me think of my late husband's testicles." And the Marine said, "Your husband's testicles were that large?" And she said, "Oh no, they were this dirty." It seems that the United States mounted huge speakers on the side of helicopters and flew them back and forth over the mountains, playing a taped recording of a workers' compensation trial involving Warren Fickett and Jerry Arnold. The children's souls are ran screaming from the hill. Now let's talk about the guest of honor, Nance. People who believe in reincarnation believe that from a past life you're either rewarded or punished. Nancy, you're married to Ron, you're partners with Joe. I believe that in a past life you were a serial killer. Nancy and Ron met while working at Fine Omen, and the whole time they were dating, they kept it a complete secret until they announced their wedding date. But the secret thing was kind of hard to break. So they sent out wedding invitations that had no date on it. They both showed up for the wedding service wearing disguises, and they took separate honeymoons. But once they settled into married life, Nancy began to notice that Ron was obsessed with the University of Buffalo. All he talked and thought about was the University of Buffalo. The University of Buffalo holds this, the University of Buffalo holds that. And his fanaticism as a fan led to a movement at the University of Buffalo to change the name of the team from the University of Buffalo Bulls to the University of Buffalo Boulders. And they were going to change the symbol on the side of the football helmets from a bull to a caricature of Ron. But alas, they had to abandon that plan. They soon discovered that in order to place a caricature of Ron on the helmets, each helmet would have to be the size of a Winnebago. Nancy has been with Joe Walsh since 1991, ever since he ended his rock music career and left the Eagles. If Nancy's partnership with Joe and her marriage to Ron have shown us anything, it's shown us that this is either a woman of infinite patience or this is a woman that brings very happy. Nancy, you made everyone around you a better person. It is my great privilege to be your friend. I thank you very much for letting me be a part of this evening.
Told Alan that we were going to get him a tall salad for an appetizer, and he started to eat the Christmas tree.
again to the ANCR. Bob says it stands for the Annual Night of Carousing and Roasting. Personally, I think it means the activity of never-ending cocktails and ridicule. You know, I was almost late tonight. Gee, I wanted to look really good. I wanted to look really buff and ripped, so I went to the gym first with my workout buddies, saw Bash and Pat Ferrara. When saw it on the scale and said to be continued. You know, sometimes I get these really weird thoughts, and they just come to me all of a sudden. Like tonight, looking at the audience, I thought, wouldn't it be funny if everyone had nicknames like gangster rappers? Like, you've all heard of the 2-pack? Kenny Loggins would be 6-pack. And instead of Busta Rhymes, yeah, Kisner would be Busta Balls. And Steve Bernstein would be Eminem. And Mounds and Snickers. And Saul Bash would be Puff and Puff Daddy. And who else? Ron Paquette. How about P. Diddy? Diddy. The other day, Bob Hellbach and I were having a political argument. He liked the idea of having an extended term, like Mayor Giuliani suggested. I said, Bob, first you gotta get elected. Don't you think Bobby has really come into his own as an MC? I mean, he's actually learned to stutter in 4 different languages. Mrs. Bergan. Geez, you're sitting here like this. Don't worry, I'm going to start saying funny things soon.
Wait.
Nancy, how much you drink? Here's another strange thought I just had. A plan to get rid of Osama bin Laden. Why not send Jerry Rosenbluth and Arthur Levy over to Jihadi Bobby's and let them confuse him to death? If I could take a moment, though, on a serious note, I'd like to offer my condolences to Jim Abrams on his new job as markup. I heard you beat the spread, Jim. You actually lasted 6 weeks with Stuart Greenblatt. I guess Don Stewart didn't mention to you during the interview that one of the job requirements was work. Let's see, you went from Foley Smith to Reisman Abramson to public assistance. Stewart, Greenblatt, to Markov and Lazarus. What's next? Law clerk to Jerry Rosenbluth? No laws required? Maybe you would have lasted more than 6 weeks at Stewart if you hadn't spent every damn day trying to think of funny things to say at this dinner. Hey, can we have a big hand for Jim McCarthy, Mike checking over, and Tony Ranieri? Those guys are my heroes. They're the Mo, Larry, and Curly of the workers' compensation. And speaking of workers' compensation, what's with these Section 32s? I mean, is it just me, or does it take forever to get a hearing?
Yep.
Right? I finally figured out why we put allocation rates of 5 or 6 years in the agreements, because that's how long it takes to get them on a calendar.
Ho, ho, ha, ha, you're killing me. What's up, Tommy? Better confirm it.
You interrupted me while I was trying to be funny up here. What did I say to you?
You said, thank God one of us was funny.
our illustrious panel. And by the way, Bobby, why isn't Pat Ferrara up here?
Yeah.
Hey, Elise,
What?
don't you pick on Pat. He's too old.
Come on, Pat's not that old.
Oh, yeah? He's so old, if I told him to act his age, he'd die.
I'm going to go back. I'm going to the Jones room.
Let's move on to Jim Abrams.
From here now, Jim Abrams, he's too stupid.
Why do you say that?
How stupid is he? I was having a conversation with him at the cocktail hour. We were talking about the Middle East, and he said, it's too bad about Beirut. I said, what are you talking about, Beirut? And he said, you know, Barry Bonds just broke he's the third guy to break his home run record.
Gene's there. Okay. Gene, we noticed your new coiffure.
Hey, Mr. Captain, wait a minute. Why does this guy look so funny?
Gene does not look funny. Very handsome. Haven't you ever heard of Yul Brynner tell us about us?
Yeah, haven't you ever heard of Ellen Flood?
Listen. All right, that's enough. Why don't you go and do something useful, like help Judge Steiner fill out his C-62?
That's original. You're so dumb. You have to hold hands because Nancy over there just finding Concord, and it's only 2 doors down.
Oh, yeah? You're so without when you already had before, like you invited 3 friends over. Ready? She's ready. Well, tonight we want some great milestones for the ANCR. Our first woman roastee. And not only that, she's the wife of one of our most popular colleagues, Bob Bergan. I have to admit, at first I wasn't too thrilled about the idea of roasting a woman because there's just certain things you can't talk about. Like, you can't talk about diet or sex, so tonight I'm not going to make any remarks about sex. Especially since Nancy doesn't believe in sex after marriage. At least not with Ron. But then again, can you blame her? I mean, Ron's kind of like cement. It takes him 2 days to get hard.
I'm going to the ladies' room. Get my wife on that.
Don't spread this around. But Nancy said that he's kind of small. And he not always as trim and svelte as she is now. She's tried a number of different diet programs over the years. In fact, once she went to a conference for bulimics and anorexics. It was a nightmare. The bulimics ate the anorexics. But it turned out okay. 10 minutes later, they were back. And then Nancy finally found a diet that works. See, anything you want, but you have to do it with naked fat people. And Nancy, I'll bet you didn't know that Nancy and I were in law school together. And let me tell you, she was a wildcat back then. You know how Nancy practiced safe sex in law school? She locked the classroom doors. And in our yearbook, Nancy was voted most likely to pay her Broadway to get an attorney's fee. When we graduated, Nancy had to make a career choice between being a lawyer or a hooker. She chose law because there are some things even a hooker won't do for money. Then she, okay. Finally, let's get it. Thank you for the encouragement. Last. And finally, let's take a look at Nancy's legal career. Don't worry, this won't take long. She went to work full-time for the New York City Law Department in 1983. And in 1983, for the first time, the city declared bankruptcy. Then Nancy got a job with Rushmore Bass. Women do a law firm to become extreme. And after that, she went to work for Fine Finkelstein, Olin, and Anderman. Fine quit. Finkelstein was thrown out. Olin died. And Anderman still paying Nancy off. And finally, Nancy met Joe Walsh. A perfect match, both in intellect and height. He took her under his wing, he mentored her, made her his partner, and most important of all, he taught her how to pick the most succulent rubber bands to chew on. But Joe was a man of few words, a few million. Joe's the kind of guy who gets offended when other people talk while he's interrupting. And Joe never opens his mouth unless he's got nothing to say. All right, well, I think Joe and Ron have taken enough abuse tonight. I just want to say that these days, there are just about as many women as men in our industry, but it wasn't like that when Nancy started. And it may have been easy for her to go up against Greek bucks like me, but she did battle with guys like Ray Norman and Marty Krutzel, and she never flinched. And she's always shown courage, integrity, and good humor. Nancy, it's been a pleasure to know you, to work with you, and a privilege to be a part of your special day.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next roast store tonight asked me to set the record straight. He was just doing some renovations, and he inadvertently knocked Ed Shine's name off the shingle. Okay? I know he's the president of the Bar Association and all that, but he just inadvertently did it. Afterwards, he realized, well, I'm pretty happy with the outcome of the way it was reconstructed. It actually looks pretty good. So the fact that people are calling this impeachment of a sitting president even uglier than Bill Clinton's doesn't really bother me. Ladies and gentlemen, Dick Cranston. Hey.
Anyone who questions the courage it takes to get up here, I give you out of that. Nancy, I don't think you have anything to worry about today. I think everybody will be very kind. I think Ron and Joe better fasten their seatbelts. We don't get a whole lot of notice that this is going to happen. 3 weeks ago, I saw Kenny Larkin at the Hempstead Hearing Point, and he's passing by me, and he says, by the way, Dick, he says, the ANCR dinner is on this year, it's November 30th, wear a tux and we're doing Nancy Bergan. So that's about the extent of the notice we get. Which 3 weeks is not bad in terms of putting material together, but yeah, I have a particular problem, and that is 3 weeks is not a lot of time to get into a tuxedo fit. Last year I wore my tuxedo that had the relaxed fit, so I figured I was all right. So I went home that night, I tried it on, and I was proud of the fact I was able to button everything, I was able to zip the zips, button the buttons. I looked at myself in front of the mirror, and I realized that probably I wasn't going to be able to wear that particular tuxedo from a safety point of view. I envisioned so that if I coughed at any time tonight, it would have been the button shooting out like 22 caliber bullets. With only 3 weeks to go, the only choice I had would be the BBC diet. And for those who aren't familiar with it, that means buy bigger clothes. So I was able to immediately go out and went and bought this tuxedo, and a little embarrassed, it was the biggest tuxedo in the tuxedo store. They said, go in the back, bottom rack, but big, it's expensive. I'm really not so concerned. It fits good, and I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of it. Tomorrow I'm going to use it for the rest of the winter as a boat coat. I think I'm all right. Everybody's always talking about trying to get into shape. I want to tell you a story. My mom was 69 years of age. She has in the family. She says, you know, I'm going to get in shape. From now on, I'm going to walk 6 miles a day. Last Sunday, she had her 77th birthday. We have no idea where she is. Although I have trouble losing weight, my firm this year, as was mentioned, lost a substantial amount of weight. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't make some comment about it. I would like to tell you one thing. I'm very proud for 23 years to be a member of the law firm of Shine, Fusco, Brandenstein, and Rada, PC. The biggest name in the workers' compensation field. And if you don't believe it, you count the letters yourself. 42 letters!
Break a fist.
Yeah, but they keep knocking them off. And the reason they were the biggest name in the field? Richard J. Brandenstein. One of mine. I don't think I should discuss that any further, otherwise I could be served with some sort of restraining order. Well, I'm still up it. But be that as it may, you know, it's nice to come to the ANCR dinner. I really enjoyed it. As I said, I come from Long Island, and a lot of people here I only see once a year, sometimes at the ANCR dinner. And I really enjoyed seeing Joe Walsh. I went to the cocktail party. I walked up to Joe. I said, Joe, I says, you look terrific. How you doing? And he says, well, I got to tell you, he says, I feel fit as a fiddle. And I'm proud to say I still got all my marbles, knock wood. Who's that? Well, Joe's a very, very bright guy. I don't know if you know this. This is true. He graduated from Yale. There aren't many Yaleys who are in the workers' compensation field. Most of the people in this room probably aren't old enough to remember when affirmative action was just for Irish people. That Ivy League education has stayed with him all these years. How many of you ever noticed? He still curses in Latin. He's a very athletic guy, very physical. He got a 4-year, fully paid scholarship to the United States Marines. He served proudly for 3 years fighting the Germans. Unfortunately, it was during the Korean War. But I'll tell you, while he was there, Joe shared with me the fact that he could have been the fleet boxing champion in his weight class. The only thing that stood in his way was the fact that every time he got in the ring, he got the crap beat out of him. So we should all do as well as Joe Walsh has done. I would like to, seriously, Diane Calley is here. I saw her at the time. Is Diane Calley here?
Yeah.
Stand up, please. Diane, please stand up there. Stand up, although humiliate you. Diane, I want to share with you something you may or may not know. Diane Calley took it upon herself this year. We don't do many nice things in comp, but she's the Toys for Tots representative. Huh? How many people did you sign up and work from workers' comp to buy toys for tots?
200.
200 people. The reason I know this is 2 weeks ago, I'm at the Hempstead hearing point. She walks up to me and she says, "Oh, Dick, you should be interested in Toys for Tots. I'm the representative." I said, "Oh, of course I am. I don't give a crap about poor kids, but I didn't want to tell everybody I wouldn't do it." They had a stack of letters. I took one of the letters out. This is true. It says, "Dear Santa, I'm 8 years old, and we're very poor, like a Rolex watch." Absolutely true. So I figured that I learned something. You can be poor, but not stupid. I gave it back, and I took the letter out, which I did take this letter, and this is what I thought was very touching. I thought I would just take a second tonight, close to the holidays, to read it to you. And this is from the Secret Antioch Baptist Church. A little girl, she's 9 years old, says, "Dear Santa, I'm 9 years old, and I live with my mom and little brother. My mom says we don't have much money for Christmas this year. She works nights, cleaning offices in a big building. During the day, she's a licensed rep." She says if things get better, she hopes to quit the day job. Mom says it's gotten real bad since the tragedy on 11/9. Please help your friend Sarah. So I called up her mom. I was so touched by this letter. I was talking to her, I said, apparently after the World Trade Center tragedy, things must have got pretty bad for you on 9/11. And she says, that wasn't any problem. It was the tragedy of 11/9 that got me. What happened on 11/9? She says, don't you remember? 1994? That's when Governor Pataki was first elected. Anyway, we're here to talk about Nancy. And I asked, and I don't know, I have met Nancy many times over the years, but I really don't know Nancy very well, because I'm out on the island. So in order to do justice to her, I asked a lot of people, and we tried to get as much information as we could. And almost to a person, everybody just told me about Ron. and they kept mentioning about Ron and the University of Buffalo, which was mentioned earlier. The University of Buffalo football team. And that he goes to every home game, he goes to every away game, and he's on the sidelines, and they take his picture, and he raises money for them, and he's just an avid, devoted University of Buffalo football fan. And the interesting thing is Nancy doesn't care about football, doesn't know about football, and just kind of goes along with this idiosyncrasy of her husband. So as luck would have it, about 2 weeks ago, I was going to be in Buffalo on business. So I think it's a great opportunity to see the University of Buffalo football team. So I called Nancy looking for Ron. So I figure, I can get some tickets, maybe get on the sideline. If he has such influence as he says, I can get on the 50-yard line. So Nancy tells me, I told her I'm going to be there. She says, well, I'm sorry, but you're out of luck. What? She says, well, the Saturday you're going to be there is an away game. I said, that's too bad. I said, where are they playing? She said, well, they're going to be in Las Vegas. Wow. Do they get to go to Vegas every year? So she says, silly. All of their away games are in Las Vegas. So I got to join the team and help me out on those. I learned a little more biographical stuff. I learned about the final in Andaman. They met there. It's very, very nice. It was secret when they met each other and they started to date. And I could understand why Nancy would keep it a secret. I never got an explanation as to why Ron wouldn't tell anybody. It was amazing to me. And they fell in love and they got married. And they had a son. And I learned, Nancy is Irish, Ron is Jewish, and this causes his own problems, different traditions, different cultures, different customs, and how they're going to raise the children, and all the problems they're going to develop. Nancy and Ron, they're intelligent, they're lawyers, they're smart, they have comp experience. And what they did is they sat down and they thought it through and they came up with a perfect plan as to how to raise their son that would be best for him. And they agreed that when he was old enough, he would choose the religion that he wanted. And they would be satisfied with that. Ron made only one condition. He says, one condition, he can't join the fire department until he finishes medical school. And I think that's the kind of reasoning that keeps a marriage strong. I want to congratulate Nancy for being this year's honoree and a good sport, and thank you for inviting me back again. It's really awesome.
I had followed our next row store's career from 9X to Foley Smith, to Reisman Abramson, to some law firm up in Albany, to Public Service Mutual, to Stuart Greenblatt, and now to Markoff and Midman, with a few other interviews in between. And it just seems to me that Jim can hold a job about as well as Richie Feldstein can hold a drink. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the man whose resume is starting to look like the workers' compensation phone directory, Jim Abrams.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
All right, so, hey, how you doing? Listen, when I say, how you doing, I want to hear, how you doing? All right. So, you may think I don't know too much over here, but let me tell you something. I'm what you call educated, you understand? I know a couple of languages. In case you haven't already noticed, I speak English. I also talk, since I'm from Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, I talk Italian. I know spoons. I know estunad. I know this guy is a scotch. The word in Italian I like best. It's spelled P-O-K-I-N. Poking. It means really. So if I think you're really unbelievable, I'm going to tell you you're fucking unbelievable. You understand me? How you doing? Yeah, everybody thinks it's like a big deal I change jobs. Hey, get a life, man. Sure, I was only in Stuart Greenblatt for 6 weeks, but hey, Madge Greenblatt had the hots for me. And she caught me bending microwave over the desk to stand out alone. Hey, that's no reason to fire me, eh? But now I'm with Markoff and Midman over here. And you guys don't know the perks that I got. Every Friday I get to go up to the White Plains office and I get to polish Mr. Markoff's Harley Davidson. Unlike this fat bastard captain spends all his time polishing his carrot. Polishing his carrot. All right, I got a few thoughts over here. Speedy bursting. Great way to lose weight is to eat naked in front of a mirror. Restaurants will almost always throw you out before you eat them. You know, sometimes I wonder whether the board is run by smart people who are just putting us on, or by imbeciles who really mean it. Yes. And you know, Chairman Snatchell has come up with a guaranteed way for attorneys to get what you want. Just want less. And Kisner, where's the hooker from 7th Avenue? When is she going to realize she's no longer pregnant? Stop wearing jeans and flip-flops down in the mall. Joe Gluck is getting jealous. And when is Gluck going to stop wearing dresses? Judge Arthur Levy is getting jealous. And when is Judge Arthur Levy going to stop being the world's biggest horse's ass? Commissioner Burns is getting jealous. And when is Commissioner Burns Warren's gonna stop acting like he's making law and crack a book and learn some law. I have one last thing. Where's Allison Hinton? She's not here tonight, huh? All right, you gotta tell her. I got a hint for her. When you go on a first date and a guy asks you what kind of books you're interested in, don't say checkbooks. All right, you guys are great. I'm going to teach you a trick. You know a trick? Hey, you ever been out and somebody gets in your face and they say something you don't like, but you don't know what to say back, and you're like, oh yeah? You could do better than that. It's like lame-o. This is what you do. You take the verb that they use. You add the word this to it. And you do that. For example, somebody says, you know, you suck. And you say, yeah, suck that. Somebody says, hey, eat shit. You say, yeah, eat this. Sometimes you get a double or a triple. It's great. They say, hey, why don't you calm down and go grab a bite to eat? And you say, yeah, grab this, bite this, eat this. Hey, how you doing? All right, Bob Helbach. What a win.
How you doing?
How you doing?
How you doing?
How you fucking doing? What a win. He considered roasting Betty Leibowitz. But he didn't want to roast somebody that had a bigger set of balls than he did. Michael Walter was supposed to be here tonight to say a few things on the dais, but he couldn't fit into his tuxedo. Oh, I'm sorry. That's Pat Ferrara. He's got into his tuxedo. Gene Spillane. This guy is living proof that you only need half a brain to do comedy. Hey! I never thought there was much there to begin with, for Christ's sake. I talked to him, he said he was going to be. He didn't come here. I thought he was going to show up like this guy. What's his name? Buckethead. Listen, Spillane, you got to be kidding. You just didn't want to come up here and have me show you up. So what's going to be next year? An ingrown toenail? For Christ's sake, get over this shit and get back to work. Shine, Fusco, Brandenstein, and Rada. Now it's two different firms. Shine, Fury, and Rosado. Rosado? For Christ's sake, I saw that guy last year selling Cucci Fritos in a Puerto Rican day parade. Now he's a partner, for Christ's sake, come on. And then there's what? Fusco, Brandenstein, Dildo, and Peckerhead. Listen, Dick. Your firm was together for like, what, 100 years? And you picked now to break up? I don't get it. So while all the other firms are tightening their belts because there's no hearings and there's no money coming in, you guys decide to break up. So if there's no money coming in, you're going to divide in half? Good choice. Oh, unbelievable. Have you guys heard about the Dream Team? The Dream Team, yeah. This was what? Mike Newman, Mark Goldberg, Mitchell Friedman, and Gail Kisner. Unbelievable. Kisner left because she said the other guys weren't handling her cases so good. Yeah, this from somebody who thinks voluntary withdrawal is a form of birth control. And then they got Tishman. I think they got him for cash and a plate to be named later. As the Dream Team considered combined with Shine, Fury, and Rosado, you can get all the Cucci Fritos you can eat. And Barry Layton, what a real gentleman. This guy, I was out one day. Out one night, I met him at the bar, he comes up and says, excuse me, Jim, can I push your stool in? Hey, how you doing? Instead, the next time you get too drunk to drive, go to the local Domino's Pizza and order a pizza. Then when they go to deliver it, ask for a ride home. And Alan Khakis, you know, you look more like Marlon Brando every day. All right, you know midlife has hit you when you stand naked in front of a mirror and you don't turn around and you can still see your ass. How you doing, huh? All right, Rosash, where are you? Rosash, this is for you. What does a blonde say after multiple orgasms? What? She says, way to go, team. But Roz is not intimidated by dumb blonde jokes. She knows she's not dumb. And she knows she's not a real blonde. Ray Gorman. You know this, do you? Ray, where are you? Okay, Terry Bayer, you're over here, right? Hello, Elliot. Listen, Elliot, I've been talking to Terry. She's been living alone a lot of years. She wants to go in the bathroom and sit down and take a whiz without closing the door. Leave her alone, all right? When I was in the Navy, we had a row of 6 toilets, you're facing a guy, no door, no nothing. Guy sits down and says, how are you doing? Just got a letter. This is not that. Get a life, for Christ's sake. All right, now a little bit about the judges and commissioners. You guys don't know the people who are making decisions for you. For example, Commissioner Burns, when he was a kid, he worked in Atlantic City. He worked in a saltwater taffy plant, and when they were pulling the taffy, they used wooden sticks and did this. And they pulled the taffy, and his job, when he finished, was to take the wooden stick and lick it to make sure of the flavor. And Judge Arthur Levy, when he worked in California, he worked in a wine bottling plant. When all the bottles came by, he had a rubber mallet. His job was to take the mallet and sock the cork in the bottle. So what I'm saying is, you got a bunch of people making decisions, or a bunch of stick lickers and cork sockers. I know, it's a long way. All right, so now we're going to roast the broad. So that's walking great over here, eh? People ask me, why are you roasting Nancy? They ask, what could you say bad about Nancy? Here's the problem. When you pick somebody to roast, we got standards. Number 1, they got to be a character. Number 2, they got to be well-liked. Hey, she's so well-liked, we decided to overlook that she wasn't a character. Okay, I mean, we could have picked Ron, but we would have had 8 people here. We could have picked Joe, we would have had, what, 6 people here, for Christ's sake. So by doing Nancy, we get Joe, we get Ron. I know, we've heard the old joke. What's the difference between a slut and a bitch? A slut will do everybody on the team. A bitch will do everybody on the team but you. That's your Nancy. I come to praise Caesar, not to bury him. This should be Saint Nancy. This poor woman, Saint Nancy. Joe, it's got to be a tough life. She and Ron both like sports. He loves hockey, football, basketball. Her favorite sport is sex. She says the practice is fun and you don't need special shoes. And a partner, Joe Walsh. You know the difference between Joe Walsh doing a hearing and an explosion in the mine shaft? There is no difference. They're both a loud noise in a small space. Nancy has a real problem with Joe, though. Joe works 24/7. 24 hours a week, 7 months a year. But he's not an excuse. This guy who came from a poor family, his family family was so poor that if he wasn't born a male, he wouldn't have anything to play with. So, now, since we're roasting Ron and Joe, and they have no way to rebut, I asked them to write a little something for me so that they could tell the audience what's important to them. And I think this shows their personality perfectly. Ron wrote, 10 reasons it's great to be a guy. Number 10, all your orgasms are real. 9, one mood all the time. Number 8, your ass is never a factor in an interview. Number 7, foreplay is optional. Number 6, you don't have to curl up next to a hairy ass every night. Number 5, same work, more pay. Number 4, you can eat a banana in a hardware store. Number 3, hot wax never comes near your pubic area. Number 2, 3 pairs of shoes is more than enough. And the number 1 reason why Ron thinks it's great to be a guy, nobody secretly wonders if you swallow. And from Joe Walsh, this is from Joe Walsh, what he thinks is important. Shit. Shit is a powerful word. You can buy shit, sell shit, lose shit, find shit, and tell others to eat shit and die. There's bullshit, dog shit, cat shit, bird shit, whale shit, rat shit, and horse shit. There's tough shit, hard shit, soft shit, slimy shit, and rough shit. You can throw shit, spring shit, cat shit, or dump and shit into the fan. You can take a shit, give a shit, or serve shit on a shingle. Shit. When you consider all the facts, it's the basic building block of creation. This means the universe wasn't created with a big bang, but with a big dump. And remember, once you know your shit, you don't need to know anything else. So now I guess Nancy's going to get up and strike a blow for women. Blow this. In closing, I want to say 2 things. Spillane. I want you to hang in there and get your phony ass up on this dais next year. And Nancy, if ever it was true that we roast only the ones we love, it's true this year. Look at all these people out here. They love you. And I love you.
Well, Nancy, you and your family have sat here patiently while we've abused you, Ron, and those you hold dear. But our jabs and our insults are only masks for our true affection and respect for you. The number of people that came here tonight is a tribute to your professionalism and your friendship. And as a token of our affection for you, the ANCR would like to present you with this caricature. Bergan.
then we should dedicate it to Jean Spillane, who is an expert at fun and could teach us all a few things about bravery. Thanks, guys. You have all the charm of a pornographic Christmas card. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. It's an honor, so they tell me, to be the first woman roasted. Although any woman who wants equality with men has absolutely no ambition. Now, I have to tell you, I got a lot of grief about being named Chick of the Year. You have no idea. The women attorneys were screaming, "This is not the Workmen's Compensation Board, and you are not a chick." Mary Fran and Marcy said, "Hey, we went to law school, we run a business, and we make a significant contribution to the board." So I found Alan Catkin at the board on a rare Brooklyn appearance. I told him, "Alan, you can't call women chicks." He said, "No problem, Nance. I'll take care of it." He went back to Staten Island, called Bob Helbach, and said, "Look, you gotta lay off the sexist shit. The broads hate it." Of course, Bob Helbach is not a sexist. He thinks the only thing worse than a male chauvinist pig is a woman who refuses to do what she's told. And he was a law school graduate before he realized that harass is not 2 words. Then I had to deal with my husband and my partner, who complained about the fact that this dinner has been running for so many years. They don't think we need it anymore. As usual, I gave them an argument. In fact, I gave them 10 reasons why we need this ANCR dinner.
Hey.
The top 10 reasons are, number 10. To find out exactly how many jobs Jim Abrams had in the last 12 months. Number 9, because we had far too much tragedy this year. Number 8, because when you run out of willing young men to roast, it's time to find willing young women. Number 7, because maybe we can get CLE credit for this. Number 6, because if Max Steinmetz can survive attempted extermination, so can we. Number 5, to figure out how Ed Schein managed to fire Vic Fusco, Dick Bradenstein, and Milan Rada. Number 4, to continue the traditions of such legends as Bob Helbach Sr., Dick Spillane, and Ray Gorman. Number 3, because carriers and claimants attorneys need a rare opportunity to meet face to face. Number 2, because the attorneys in Queens can't be the only ones who have fun. The number one reason why we needed to have this ANCR dinner is to prove that they can take us out of the locker room, but they can't take the locker room out of us. hearing. I guess if we were meant to stay for only 10 minutes, we shouldn't need to take our coats off. The chair is not dishonest, he's just ethically disoriented. Actually, the more things change, the more they remain the same. Last week, I was talking while waiting in Judge Harris's part, and she yelled at me. Spit out your gum and be quiet back there. I just disallowed 3 cases and I didn't hear a single word of evidence. How can you tell when Judge Rakes is going to toss a case? He's in the park and his mouth is moving. And did you know that in connection with his application for supervising law judge position, Judge Bloomfield took an IQ test? It came back negative. Judge Katz got her own website. You can find her at www.realbitch.com. You know, 99% of the carrier's attorneys give the rest of them a bad name. Wasn't that nice of Richie Feldstein to roast me long distance? I miss him tonight. Richie and I go way back. We go back to the days when safe sex meant making sure the car was in park. So my friends Ray and Patty are here. They gave me a lot of encouragement about tonight. Generally, they give me a lot of useful advice. Patty's the one who taught me how to satisfy a man. Show up naked with food. And the men on the dais, have you ever seen a better looking, more talented bunch? There's Kenny Larkin. He knows that a beer in the hand is better than 2 in the fridge. Actually, he quit drinking beer recently. He's on a whiskey diet. So far, he lost 3 days. And Alan Catkin, he's no stranger to hard work. He's been fighting it for years. You know, before Alan became an attorney, he had a career as a male stripper. I went to the club where he worked. It was $10 to get in and $50 to get out. And my friend, Jim Abrams, Jim had a number of job interviews this year. When he was speaking to Bruce Wexler, Bruce asked him what salary he was looking for. Jim said, I want something in the vicinity of $175,000, but it depends on the benefit package. So Bruce said, how about 6 weeks vacation, 12 sick days, full medical and dental, and a new Lexus every year? Wow, Jim said. Are you kidding? Bruce said, I certainly am, but you started it. Actually, Jim is settled comfortably back into the claimant's side, where he gets the full benefit of his charm and powers of persuasion. I heard a funny story about Dick Brandenstein when he was out playing golf with his office manager. Dick was playing with extra balls in his pocket, and his office manager couldn't help noticing the bulge in his pants. Dick was embarrassed and said, it's only golf balls. She said, oh, I'm sorry, is that anything like tennis elbow? My partners Joe and his lovely wife Martha are here. She hates to interrupt him. And you know, Martha loves to shop. She'll buy anything that's marked down. Last week she came home with an escalator. And this is the truth. You know, ever since I met Joe in 1980, he's been taking me out to lunch. He really believes in unwinding and enjoying a good meal. So recently, I noticed the lawyers in the office next to us put up a sign that says, "Gone to lunch, be back at 3 o'clock." So I said to Joe, boy, they really have the right idea. 2 weeks later, I was rushing back from Harlem to see a client in the office. And when I arrived, there was a huge sign on our door that said, "Gone crazy, be back soon." Anyway, at least I'm married, Mr. Wright. I just didn't realize that his first name was Always. Losing a husband can be hard. In my case, it's impossible. Anyway, it's nice that the firm of Caruso's Spillane is here tonight. I know they're here for me. I remember when Barry Layton joined the firm. Danny and Morrow were so relieved. They were sure he would solve the dispute that was tearing the firm apart. Which is better, boxers or reefs? Instead, Barry made it worse by just declaring the thong the perfect It's the official underwear of the firm. And that goes for you too, Marcy.